From Saturday, August 11th to Sunday, August 12th, 2018, New South Wales Rail Museum's 3526 have been doing shuttle trips around Sydney. At Sydney Central Station, 3526 is seen on the Hornsby Steam Express on Saturday. The loco is taking passengers on a one-way trip to Hornsby in the North Shore of Sydney, as will be taking shuttle trains from there to Gordon and return. All the shuttle trains, including this one, were sold out. While we await for the 35 class loco to depart, we see a Sydney Trains VSET on Platform 1 getting ready for a commuter trip to the Blue Mountains. The 246 VSETs were built by Commonwealth Engineering, or COMNEG for short, between 1970 to 1989. These ran on the main Northern Line to Gosford and the main Western Line to Mount Victoria. The trains then terminate at Lithgow in 1978, after the 10 tunnels just west of Clarence were lowered in height. However, these trains won't be around for long, as in 2014 the New South Wales State Government had ordered 520 new carriages of the New South Wales Trainlink Intercity network, with deliveries starting in 2019, and they will be operating on Blue Mountains, Central Coast and Newcastle, and South Coast lines. The former two are the lines that the VSETs are currently working on, and will be replaced by the new trains. The VSETs had served the South Coast line as far as Kiama until 2012. We will now see 3526 departing for Hornsby. (4403) assists the train by hauling it from Hornsby to Gordon on the forward journey, while 3526 delivers the return journey. We now move to Sunday at North Strathfield and see 3526 this time doing shuttle trips to Rhodes from Sydney for Track Safe with Thomas and Friends, a special event in Sydney in conjunction for Rail Safety Week. The event is designed to teach preschoolers about rail safety with the New South Wales Rail Museum's Thomas the Tank Engine on display at Sydney Central Station. We now see 4403 taking the train and 3526 back to Sydney. We move now to Concord West on its second shuttle. A CountryLink XBT is seen passing through. These were introduced in 1982 and served trips to Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Dubbo, Grafton and Casino. The abbreviation stands for Express Passenger Train, and their design is based on the Intercity 125 from the UK. "4403 once again leads the train back to Sydney. We then move back to North Strathfield on the third shuttle trip. Again, 4403 leads back to Sydney. Normally we film steam locomotives, but on Saturday, August 18th, 2018, we see 421 class diesel locomotive 42103 on its debut run to Kiama in the south coast of New South Wales. 42103 is the third member of the class and entered service in 1966. The 421 class were built for the main Southern Line until they were transferred to Bathurst in 1970 to serve on the main Western Line between Lithgow and Broken Hill, including the then new Indian Pacific service. They then returned to the main Southern Line later on due to poor ride quality. In 1982, they were used briefly for through services to Melbourne, Victoria. 42103, as well as its 9 fellow class members, were then withdrawn from railway service between December 1986 and January 1987. 42103 and its class member 42105 were purchased by a private company known as Chum Rail. 42103 makes its official relaunch in the State Rail Authority candy colour livery, a livery that it wore during its working period in the 1980s. The livery was designed by Australian railway artist Phil Belbin and was launched by the State Rail Authority of New South Wales in 1982, now called Sydney Trains. It then phased out sometime in the 1990s. The livery was repainted by the Lithgow Railway Workshops, where 42103 is stored for safekeeping. 42103 is named Chumster, as we've seen earlier in the video. Proceeds of the money paid by passengers for this trip will go into restoring 42105. The 421s feature the classic bulldog nose like the GM and S-Class diesel locomotives built by Klein Engineering. However, what makes them more unique to the other bulldog nose diesels in the world is that they have a flat cab at the end, as seen here. (42103) will now depart Sydney and will then make its first stop to Hurstville, and then will stop at Sutherland to pick up more passengers before it heads to Kiama. We now move to Illawarra, and after a day out of Kiama, 42103 is now making its way to Sydney, after dropping passengers off at Hurstville. Another diesel locomotive we see at Sydney Central Station is CFCLA's GL122 JEUNE, taking the Highlander to Moss Vale via Unanderra on the Illawarra line on Sunday, August 26, 2018. The name JEUNE is French for young and is named after the British thoroughbred that had won the 1994 Melbourne Cup, hence the silhouette of horses on the side of the locomotive. The train was in conjunction for the 50th anniversary celebrations of the Illawarra division of the New South Wales Rail Museum, hence the trip through the Illawarra. GL122 was built by A.E. Goodwin as a New South Wales Government Railway 442 class diesel locomotive in 1971, or Jumbos as they were nicknamed. In 2001, the remaining locos of that class were sold to Great Northern Rail Services Victoria in preparation of the sale of Freight Corp. 5 were overhauled and returned to service as JL class. Then between June 2003 and October 2004, they were then converted to the GL class. GL112 was converted during 2003. The livery that GL112 is carrying is the Chicago Freight Leasing Australia blue, yellow and grey livery. We now see GL112 departing Sydney and will be making its first stop to Wollongong, and then on to Robertson and then Moss Vale. As GL112 is awaiting for a clear path, we now move to Carlton Station and see GL112 on its return journey to Sydney after a stop to drop off passengers at Hurstville. This is where we conclude our September edition of Rail Around New South Wales.